Kelly from Craftandacuppa, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Karlee Cardi, which is basically like a little shrug type cardigan. Although I suppose you could add length if you wanted to the sleeves. Now I designed this one possibly 2021, I think, or maybe even 2020, but it is my third written pattern. So I will tag the written pattern down below, I'll link it. But for the written pattern, it has a stitch count and it has a gauge that you have to measure out first. But for this tutorial, I'm changing it made to measure. So you can use whatever yarn you wish, but if you follow along with the written pattern and the stitch counts, you will need to have chunky yarn for that. But tutorial is going to be made to measure. You can use whatever yarn you wish. This one's chunky and I like to wear it in the winter, layered, or in the summer with a dress. Right, should we get on with it? Right, things that you're going to need for the pattern. So, any yarn, any ply of yarn. I've gone for chunky because that's what I used on the purple one that you just saw a little while ago. And I'm using a 10mm hook with that, which isn't the recommended hook size. Isn't it like a 7 for chunky? A 6? A 6? Well, I've never used a 6 with chunky before. Blimey. Well, I'm using a 10mm hook. You can use a 6 if you want, or a 7 or an 8, whatever. But I like mine. It's quite drapey and airy and not too thick feeling, I don't think, anyway. So yes, we are going to be using a tape measure. So you're going to need to access the written description of my pattern. At the minute, to get to that, you click my video title and then read more or something like that. It's going to bring up all the measurements. Check out the chest measurements for each size, and then you can pick what size is closest to your chest measurement, and then you can use all the measurements in the written description to make this top. So apart from that, just little essentials, scissors, blah 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 blah. Right, let's crack on. So we're going to start off making our 2 front panels first. I have put down a length to make them 2, which has been tested. Everyone loved the length, but you don't have to use that length. If you want to make it longer or shorter, that's fine. So it's a good idea to do the front panels first, really, because then you can hold it up to the top of your shoulders and see how far it hangs down. So I'm going to start with a chain. You can do a, what's the first stitch we're going to be using? It's a single crochet. If you want to, you can do a foundation single crochet. I'm just going to do a loose chain. Normally I'd suggest to go up a hook size. I don't actually have a size 11 hook, so I'm just going to make sure that I do a loose chain for mine. Also, what you need to know is the measurement for your front panels. So if you have a look in the written description, I'm making a size small and mine says I have to work both of my front panels to 16 centimetres. So I'm going to make a chain and I'm going to keep measuring it until it gets to 16 centimetres. And it also has to be a multiple of 3 plus 1. And if you're like, oh, that's so confusing. It's not really. I'll show you how I do. I'll just do a little bit and show you my way of getting to a multiple of 3 plus 1. Real simple. Remember to keep it loose if you're using the same hook. I just count up in 3s. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I just keep going like that until I reach my measurement. But remember, it's got to have a plus 1 on the end. So if I stopped at like 21, it'd have to be 22 because it's multiple of 3 plus 1. So I'll meet you back here when I have my correct measurement. Okay, so I have been making a chain. I need to get to 16 centimetres and it's currently like 15 and a half, 16. I'm not pulling it tight, but I am trying to make sure that it's nice and straight. So I'm at 15 stitches. That means I need to add 1 extra stitch so that I'm at 16. So for 15 is my multiple of 3, add the 1 extra stitch. That gives me a grand total of 16. Let me just get a bit of yarn. Okay, so now I'm ready for round 1. Well, row 1 actually. We're working in rows today. I wonder how many times I'm going to say round. Maybe we should do a little count up. No, let's not. Right, row 1. I do apologise, the sun's come out, which I love the sun, but this morning I'm like, oh, do you have to, sun? There's nothing I can do about that unless I kind of move my arm in the way, but it's a bit awkward. Right, row 1, really easy. It's just a row of single crochet. So to start the row, we do need to do another chain. So it's like I've now got 17 chains, but that is just our turning chain, okay? So we're going to chain 1. We're not going to go into that one. Well, actually, it's not really a turning chain, is it? It's just to give us a bit of height. We're just going to go into the second chain, okay? Not the one you've just done. Just go through there and make your single crochets in every single chain. So for me, once I've done this, my stitch count should be 16. So I'll meet you back here when you've done row 1. Okay, row 2 is going to be a granny stitch row. Nice and easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and that will be our first double crochet. 1, 2, 3. We are then going to turn our work and put 1 double crochet in the same stitch. Now we need to skip 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then put 3 double crochets in the 3rd stitch. And then just keep repeating that. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and put 3 double crochets in the 3rd stitch. You're going to do that all the way across until we have 2 stitches remaining. Was it? No, actually it should be single crochet round. Yeah, no, until you have 3 stitches remaining. I was going to say 2 stitches and your turning chain, but we're not using that for the single crochet row. Hang on, I've only put 2 in there. Let me put 1 more in there. So yeah, just repeat that all the way across, okay? Skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochet in the 3rd stitch. Keep going until you reach the end of the row and you have 3 stitches remaining, okay? I'll meet you when we're like here and we've got 3 stitches remaining. Okay, so I'm right near the end. I've got 3 stitches remaining. Thank goodness, because I didn't double check that I had the right amount of single crochets, but luckily I did. So we're going to skip 2 stitches and then we're going to put 2 double crochets in the final stitch, not 3. So we begin and end each granny stitch row with 2 doubles. Okay, not 3. If I can get it in there. So that's 1, 2. And that, my dears, is literally all we're going to be doing is those 2 rows. So my next row is going to be single crochet and the next row is going to be the granny stitch row. So I'm going to do 2 more with you and then I'll let you get on with it. So we're going to chain 1 for row 3, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to place 1 single crochet in every single stitch. And my stitch count should still be 16. I'm real bad for checking. Amount of times when I remember I made a couple of these a few years ago, and there'd be moments where I'd get to the end of my granny stitch row and be like, I haven't got enough stitches left. I've not been counting. Having to rip out the row. But to be honest, because I'm using chunky yarn and a 10mm hook, this works up so fast. You can like make some serious progress on this if you're using the same yarn and hook as me. But if you're not, no worries. It's not about how fast you make it really, is it, at the end of the day? Although it is nice when you do get a project done quickly, but Right, and remember when you get to the end of your single crochet row, you will be working into the top of the chain 3 from the beginning of the previous row. It can be a little tricky to get in there sometimes. So what I do is I twist mine forwards, and then you can kind of see that little V shape there. I go in the center of that and pick up 2 loops and then place my final single crochet. If it feels a bit tight, just wiggle your hook. That's all I do. Give it a little wiggle. And there we are. So that's row 3. You can see it starting to take form now. Right, row 4, exactly the same as row 2. We are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That classes as your first double. Turn your work and put 1 more double crochet in the same stitch. And then we go back to what we was doing before. Skip 2 stitches and place 3 double crochets in the 3rd stitch. And just keep doing that all the way to the end. My yarn doesn't want to come. Come on, yarn. But remember, your final stitch, you are placing 2 double crochets, not 3. So it's skip 2 stitches, 3 doubles in the 3rd stitch. And I'll meet you back here near the end of this row. I think I'm doing quite well actually with saying rows. Pat on the back, Katie. Okay, so I'm right near the end of row 4. I've got 3 stitches remaining, so I'm going to skip my final 2 stitches there. Well, not my final 2. I'm going to skip 2 stitches and then put 2 double crochets in the final stitch. Oh, my hook is squeaking. And there we go. We are just going to keep repeating rows. Oh, rows. What would it be? We'll say rows 3 and 4, yeah? Because we want our final row to be the double crochet row. Now, if you go in the written description, I have put a length in there. For me, it says 37 centimetres. I'm going to aim for that length first, and then I'm going to put it up on my shoulder. I mean, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to hang it off my shoulder and see if I like the length or not. But I'll do all that on camera so you can watch me. But we are just going to keep repeating rows 3, which is a single crochet row, and row 4, which is the granny stitch row. Just keep repeating those until you are happy with the length of your first front panel. And then you're going to have to repeat it all again for your second one. And then you're going to have to do it one more time on a bigger scale for the back panel. It is that simple. Also, before I disappear, one thing I will say, especially if you're using up scrap yarn and you want to weave your ends in as you go, you can pick which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. Now, I tend to pick it so that my single crochet row is right side facing. I personally like the way that looks better than having the single crochet row with the wrong side facing. So that's how I have my right side. So the granny stitch is wrong side facing and the single crochet is right side facing. I just thought I'd better let you know, just in case you are using up scraps and you're like, I want to weave my ends in as I go. You pick which way you prefer, but just remember to keep it consistent throughout the whole panels that you make. Don't have one wrong, one way, one the other. Continuity. I can't get my words out right. Right, I'm now going to do some crocheting and watch a bit of Netflix. Oh, am I allowed to say that? I think I am. I think that's all right, isn't it? There are other shows, other streaming channels that you can also watch. So yeah, see you soon. It's me again. I keep remembering little things. Right, also, one more thing before you start getting carried away and adding loads on. Double check that your panel is measuring the measurement that I've provided. So for me, I'm doing a size small. I need to check that my panel is around about 16 centimetres. And it is, I've checked it a minute ago, it's bang on 16 centimetres. Like, literally, that's amazing. So if you check your panel and it's not quite right, you will have to go back to your chain and either add some or take some away, but just remember to make sure it's a multiple of 3 plus 1. But it's best to check right now rather than you make the whole thing and be like, well, that's too big. She gave me the wrong measurements, because I promise I haven't. But this is the thing with made to measure. We do take a gamble because we have to make it to like fit the tape measure or whatever. But I like to do it this way because you can then grab any yarn that you want from your stash. You're not just limited to a certain type of yarn and then have to try and match the gauge. This is much better in my opinion. Like I could literally go grab a 4-ply if I wanted to and make one out of 4-ply. It's beautiful. I say it's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful thing. Being able to use whatever yarn you wish. So yeah, make sure you measure your front panel and check that it's definitely looking the right measurement. Right, I'm going now. I'm back and I'm at the right place where I said I was going to be ages ago. So I have just made one of my front panels to 37 centimetres because that's the length that I've provided for my size, which is a small, and I am bang on 37 centimetres, which is amazing. Things are going quite well for me today. Remember, don't worry if you're not quite hitting that measurement, as long as you're close to it. Again though, I'm now going to hold this up to myself and see if I'm happy with the length. Because if I want it to be longer, then I'm just going to add some more rows. But remember that your final row has to be the granny stitch row. If I'm honest, it doesn't really matter. But let's just say that so that we're all doing the same thing. Right, I'm now going to try it, or not going to try it on. I'm going to see what it looks like. Okay, so here is my panel. What way do I like to have it? Not that it really matters, this is the way. So I'm just going to hold it up to the top of my shoulder, like the centre section of my shoulder, and just see if I'm happy with it. My original one, it is like a little shrug, so that's what I'm aiming for. But I do keep thinking this would look really nice as a duster. So about there-ish, and it's hanging about here. And over time it does stretch out a little bit as well, because I've used a 10mm hook. I'm sure once I've washed it and worn it a bit, it's going to stretch out a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy with how that is looking. So I'm now going to make another front panel, exactly the same amount of stitches going across and the exact same amount of rows going up. So I'll meet you back here when you have 2 front panels. Right, I now have my 2 front panels. Lovely jubblies. We're now going to do the exact same thing but on a wider scale. We're going to make the back panel, and that's just one piece. So now you need to have a look at the written description, find the size you're working on, find the measurement for the back panel. I'm doing a size small, so mine says roughly 45 centimetres. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that I've just done. Make a chain, multiple of 3 plus 1 to around about 45 centimetres. Do exactly the same as what we've done for the front panel. Single crochet row, granny stitch row, single crochet row, granny stitch row. Do a few rows and then check my measurement to make sure that I'm measuring on track, and then away we go. You will make sure that you add the exact same amount of rows as what you have done for your front panels. So when it comes to putting them together, they match. And that's it. So I'll meet you back here when you got your back panel as well. Okay, so I now have my back panel and my 2 front panels. So what we need to do now is assemble them together. It's going to be so easy, so easy. Right, so the front panels we're going to attach at the top first. Going to be super easy because we're just going into the stitches. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that our Cardi is kind of set out inside out. So I have chosen to have my single crochet row facing the right side, and that is my right side. And my 3 double crochet stitches, my granny stitch, are facing the wrong side. If that makes any sense, wrong side facing. But that is my right side. So that is my wrong side. I personally like the way it looks, but you can choose whatever you wish. So back panel, you need to have that so that it's facing right side up. And then your front panels, you need to make sure you have them so that they are right side down, so that your right sides are going to be touching. Make sure that you've got it the right way round, so your granny stitch is going up. It's not upside down like this. That's upside down. We're having it so that all stitches are facing up, and we worked our panels from the bottom up. So, because that'd be annoying, wouldn't it, if you put it on and one's upside down, like, and you'd be like, oh no, what have I done? I always do stuff like that all the time. Right, so let me just get my bearings a minute. That is right side facing up. So I like to have my single crochet facing the right side for the right side of the panel. So that is the wrong side facing, and that is the right side facing. So you need these two right side facing so that when you seam and you put it the right way, you've got both the same panels facing the right side. Does that make any sense? I feel like I'm bloody running on a bit here. Right, same with the other side. I can see that my single crochet row is wrong side facing. That is the inside of this panel. Let me just lay that on there like so. I'm not going to bother with stitch markers at the minute because I'm just going to work from one corner to another. I'm just going to use, what did you call it? I'm going to use my crochet hook. I'm just going to slip stitch them together. That's all I'm going to do. If you've got another way you want to join it, that is absolutely fine. You can join that bit however you want. I'm just going to do a simple slip stitch, and I'll show you a little bit of it and then I'll let you get on your merry way. Okay, I've just zoomed in. Basically, here's the top of my Cardi, and we're just going to seam together the stitches, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. Like I said before, if you want to do it a different way, that's absolutely fine. No rules as to how you finish it off. I'm just showing you the basics of how to make it, and you can do whatever you wish with it. So my first stitch is a chain 3. So make sure that you do go through the top of your chain 3 and don't miss that one out. Even if you did, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, so I'm going to go through that one on the front panel, and I'm now picking up the back panel, and I'm going to go through the first stitch, and all I'm going to do is one slip stitch. Then I'm going to come to the next stitch, which is that one there. If I can get through it, and then find the next stitch on my back panel and do a slip stitch. Try not to make it too tight, because sometimes a slip stitch can be quite tight. So I'm just trying to keep it loose so it don't all bunch up. But yeah, just going through both stitches on the front and the back and just doing a slip stitch, and that is it. So I'm going to join both of my panels in that way. When I get to this end, I'm just going to fasten off, and then I'm probably going to, I mean, if you wanted to, you could count your stitches and keep going from this side. But I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to flip it around and then just start from that end. No one's going to know. As if anyone's going to look at it and go, oh, she seamed that edge, that shoulder, different to that one. I can tell. No, no one's going to know. Right, I now have both panels attached at the top. I've still got my Cardi, so it's wrong side facing. I've also been very good and weaved in my ends because I hate having loads of ends to deal with at the end. Right, so what we're going to do now is you're going to need 2 stitch markers, I do believe. Just 2. I'm going to lay this out nice and flat again, because what we're going to be doing now is measuring out the armhole. I want to make sure that my panels are looking equal-ish, because I don't want the front to be bigger than the back and blah, 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 blah. So make sure they're all lining up along the bottom. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I've just kind of entered like whatever kind of mode. I don't know. Just get on with it mode. Right, make sure it's all lined up at the bottom, which mine is. We're only going to measure one side and place a stitch marker through the front and the same row on the back. And then we know we can just count down how many rows on that side. So you need to go to the written description and find your armhole depth or armhole measurement. I'm not really sure what I wrote, what I'm going to write, who knows. Mine is 18.5 centimetres for a size small. So we're going to need our tape measure. Mine's here, pretty much about to fall apart. It's nearly broken, look. Right, where are we? So we're going to measure from the top. I'm kind of going to place it on my work as well. Just on the edge, and I'm going to measure down for me 18.5 centimetres. Just see where that is sitting. That is sitting on that row. For me, it is fell on a granny stitch row, but it don't matter if it falls on your single crochet row. It does not matter at all. So I'm now going to count how many granny stitch rows I've got from the top to here, and I'm going to make sure I put it through the same section on the back, so it goes through both pieces. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to do the exact same thing for this side. Count how many granny stitch rows it is, rather than counting every single row. My granny stitch rows just stand out to me more. And then, yeah, we will then seam this bit, which will then leave our armholes. What I suggest, though, is once you've placed your stitch markers through both panels, I always suggest this, just try it on and see what you think. And if you think, well, that's a bit big for my underarm, make adjustments. And if you think, oh, that's a bit small, bring it back down again. We're all different shapes and sizes, okay? So maybe my measurements might fit you somewhere, but not the other way. Blah, 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 blah. So just try it on. What you got to lose? About 2 minutes of your time. Right, I'll meet you back here when we have our stitch markers placed. Right, I have both my stitch markers in. Just tried it on. Looks really cute, actually, as it is. Even I just looked at it thinking, how cute would that be? Just to put a little seam in here and have this bit open. Maybe it's just what I'm wearing today. It just looked like a cute little like tabard, open tabard. It looked really, really cute. Anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. Seaming. Again, you can now seam this bit however you wish. I'm going to use like a invisible type seam where you do use a needle. I've got to be honest with you, it drives me nuts, but I quite like the finish it gives. You can go around your double crochet bars on the side and do a slip stitch just like you did, which isn't too bad if it's all one colour. But if you've used different colours throughout, I do suggest using your needle and your thread and using like the invisible join. I'm not going to do it on the tutorial, but I have got a separate tutorial for it. So I'm going to link that in amongst the timestamps at the right time where we are now to direct you there. And I think it's called like the invisible seam or something like that. It probably goes wrong because you know what my tutorials are like. Something always goes wrong usually, but never mind. But that's the seam I'm going to be using. So I'll meet you back here when you have seamed the bottom section from your stitch markers all the way down. Don't do this bit because that's where your little army's got to come out. Right, see you soon. Right, so I have got my sides joined together. I weaved in my ends as well, like a good girl. Right, next is sleeves. So you can have your sleeves as long as you wish. I've just checked back with my old pattern because I'm actually using chunky yarn, which I used on my written pattern. And I added 7 rows for my sleeves. Now you can make yours long if you want, but I'm going to stick with my short sleeved one because I like to wear this in the summer with a dress. And I also like to layer it at winter. So, right, because I have got my single crochet row facing the front on the right side, I need to start my sleeves with right side facing me. Now, if you've got it so that your right side facing is your single crochet wrong side facing, you need to start and join your sleeves with your cardigan wrong side facing to keep that pattern going. I hope that makes sense. Now, because my single crochet is right side facing for the right side, I need to start my sleeves with my Cardi right side facing. I wish I knew a simple way of explaining things. Everyone's like, would you like to come and do a crochet like group and like teach people how to crochet? I'm like, no, sorry. I can barely get my words out right when I'm on my own doing a blooming YouTube tutorial. So what on earth would I be like in a room full of people? I would be like, So, sleeves. Let's do it. Okay, so round 1 is just going to be single crochets, and it needs to be a multiple of 3 for us to continue this stitch pattern. We don't need the +1 anymore because we're not working in rows, we're now working in rounds, and we just need to have a multiple of 3 going around this edge. So what I suggest you do is have a look at your rows, because you're going to be working into the side of your rows. So everywhere where you have got a double crochet, you're going to put 2 single crochets around that. And everywhere where you've got 1 single crochet, you're going to put 1 single crochet around that. And that is going to be 3 single crochets in total. So if you follow that, then hopefully, and skip over your seam, don't even worry about that, ignore that. Hopefully you should have a grand total that multiplies by 3. And if you're a couple of stitches out, well, don't worry, just bung them in somewhere. It don't matter. It really doesn't matter. Bung them in like your bottom bit or whatever. Sometimes it's alright to bodge things. I bet people who are watching this who like things to be perfect are like, no! What's she saying? Just bung them in anywhere. The thing is, by the time it's all made, no one's going to even notice. I am a professional bodger. Sometimes it's just got to be done, hasn't it? Okay, so I am going to join, like, it's the thing with my invisible seam. You can't really see it because it's invisible. Fancy that. So I am just going to have a little look here. Now I can see, like, the first bit that I have right at my seam is my single crochet row. So I'm just going to like wiggle my hook in there the best that I can. Wiggle it in, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet around there. I'm just going to join in straight away with a single crochet. And then next, I have got a double crochet bar. That is my row of my granny stitches, and that I'm going to call a double crochet bar. I'm going to put 2 single crochets around that. 1, 2, and now I'm back to my single crochet row. So I'm going to put 1 single crochet in there. Now I'm back to my double crochet bar, and I'm going to put 2 single crochets around that. And I'm just going to keep repeating this all the way around. 1 single crochet in the 1 single crochet bar. I don't know, yeah, whatever. In the bar. And 2 single crochets around the double crochet bar. And I'm going to keep repeating that all the way around. And hopefully by the time I get to here, I'm going to skip over my shoulder seam. And hopefully by the time I get around, I should have an even number. Well, not an even number. I should have a stitch that multiplies by 3. And if I don't, I'm just going to bodge it a little bit to make sure that it does multiply by 3. And then I'm going to join it to my first single crochet with a slip stitch to finish the round. Okay, so I'll meet you back here when you have round 1. Right, I've just completed round 1 and I have got a total of 39 stitches, and my plan worked perfectly, so that's jolly good. So round 2 is going to be the granny stitch round. So we're going to be turning our work after each round to keep our seam in the centre and stop our stitches from slanting and getting a diagonal seam, because that's not pretty. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn our work, so we're now working on the wrong side, or it might be the right side, just depends what stitch pattern you chose for your wrong and right side. We're now going to place 2 more double crochets in the bottom of that chain 3. So in the same stitch, place 2 double crochets. Might have to give it a little bit of a wiggle. Oh, there we go, I'm in. Now I've got to wiggle it through again. There we go. 2, 1 more in there. There we go. That's easier now. I've just done it already. And then we're going to skip 2 double crochets, and then we're going to go in the third what's a double crochets? What am I talking about? Stitches. We're going to skip 2 stitches and then go in the next stitch with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches again and go in the third stitch with 3 doubles. And we're going to do that all the way around, and then when you get to your final stitch of 3 double crochets, you're going to join to the top of your chain 3 with a slip stitch to join up round 2. Okay, I'm now coming to the end of my round, so I'm just going to join it to the top of the chain 3 from the beginning of the round, and just put a slip stitch in the top of the chain 3, and that closes off round 2. So from here on out, you're just going to be repeating round 1, round 2, round 1, round 2, and that's a single crochet round and the granny stitch round, and just keep going really until you're happy with the length. Right, I'm just going to do a little bit with you. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the same stitch. If I can get it in there. What is it doing? Get in there. What's it doing? Oh my gosh, I think I've done it too tight. I'm in. Thank goodness. Single crochet. Right, 1 single crochet in every single stitch. Remember, you do need to just make sure that you are putting the same amount of stitches in. So mine is 39. So I need to make sure that I end up with 39 stitches at the end of this round. Sorry to make you do a little bit of counting, but just saves a bit of heartbreak if you get to the end of the next round and you're like, oh, I ain't got enough stitches for my single crochets. So yeah, you're just going to put a single crochet in every single stitch all the way around, and then your next round is chain 3, turn your work, put 2 doubles back into the same stitches as chain 3, and then you just do your skip 2, 3 double crochets in the third stitch, and repeat it all the way around. Now you can make your sleeve as long as you wish. I'm going to stick with a shorter sleeve, so when I get to where I'm happy with my sleeve length, I will stop, come back on the camera, measure it and tell you what length I'm at, and then we just put a little decrease row or decrease round on it to bring it in a little bit. So just keep repeating your single crochet row and then your granny stitch row, repeating those 2 until you're happy with the length, and I'll meet you back here. Right, so I've added 7 rows for my sleeve. I'm now going to measure it for you and just see where it's at. It's about 9 centimetres. Yeah, about 9 centimetres I've added on mine. I'm happy with it. I'm now going to do a decrease round to bring it in. I feel like I just said row a minute ago, but never mind. I'm going to bring a decrease round to hopefully bring it in, and then end it with 1 more single crochet round. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So for my decrease round, I'm going to try 1 single crochet, 2, can't get my words out, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet, 2 together, and repeat that. Then I'm going to try it on and see if I like it, and if I do, then I'm good to finish off on my final row of single crochet. Also, just to let you know, I have finished on my single crochet round. So when I do my decrease, I'm going to turn and I'm going to be working on the wrong side, and then when I do my final single crochet round, it's going to be on the right side, so it looks nice and neat. Just a little pointer there. So let's have a go. Right, so we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and put 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, and I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, and then I'm going to try it on and see if I'm happy with it. And if I think it's too loose, then I could add more single crochet at 2 togethers, more decreases basically. If I think it's too tight, then I'll add less decreases, and I'll make a note of what I've done so I can make sure that I do the exact same thing for the opposite sleeve. So I'll meet you back here in a bit. Okay, so I have tried it on. I'm happy with it actually. It's not like crazy tight, but it's not really crazy loose either. It's just to like bring the sleeve in a bit. And I've got to add another round of single crochet on it as well, which will also bring it in a bit more. But no, I'm just going for a relaxed fit. I'm happy with how it looks. So I've just got to do 1 round of single crochet, and then I've got to repeat it for this side. And then we've just got to go around the edge of the cardi a few times or whatever, and it's done. But it's cute, isn't it? Love it. Okay, where are we at? So to finish it off, I am just going to do 1 more round of single crochet. And that is sleeve number 1 done. Right, where are we? I'm working on the wrong side at the minute. So you know what you're doing with this, don't you? Chain 1, turn, 1 single crochet in every single stitch. And then fasten off, weave in some ends, and then repeat the exact same process for the opposite side. This would actually look really cute with long sleeves. It'd be like a bomber style, wouldn't it? I feel like I might need to make another one with some long sleeves. I might do, you know. I might do. Who knows? Okay, I now have 2 sleeves. Woohoo! So we are pretty much almost done. The last thing we need to do is finish it off really by going around the inside edges and the bottom. Now, I suggest, right, if you have made a long version, I'm not going to be showing this on here, but if you've made a long version, I suggest that you go back and forth in rows along the bottom with whatever stitch you want to finish it with, whether it's single crochet, a ribbon stitch, double crochet, half double crochet, whatever stitch you just want to finish it in, that's fine. But I suggest, if you've made a long version, to go along the bottom in rows until you're happy with it, fasten off, and then go round the edge. And the reason why I'm saying this is because for the short version, I am going to go from one corner. Which way would I be working? I'm probably going to end up working this way. But I'm going to go round on one corner, go all the way around the whole entire cardigan with single crochet. Then I might do it again, because I always quite like to add a few rows around this bit to help it feel a bit more snug. But on my original one, I just did 1 single crochet all the way around. I might do a couple, I'm not quite sure yet. But the reason I suggest to, on a long one, not do that is that you run the risk of your corners like doing this. And I found, although I did go around the whole one on my short purple version, it sits really nice. I've never had an issue with it. But I know if I've done that on longer cardis, you run the risk of your corners curling up, because there's just like a lot of, I can't think what the word is, tension maybe, coming round, going around the corner, blah, blah, blah. When it's longer, it has more of a potential to hang like this. So yeah, that's just my suggestion, but at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around the edge of my whole entire shrug with a single crochet and see what it's like. Try it on. Okay, so this is going to be exactly the same as the sleeves, right? Well, I say right, obviously when I get working around the bottom, I'm just going to be going into the first chain that we created. Going along the edge is going to be the same as the sleeves, because I'm going to be putting 1 single crochet on my single crochet row and 2 single crochets around each double crochet bar, just like we did for the sleeves. So I'm just going to start in any random corner. I'm going to turn it upside down, so I'm going to do, I think, and go for this corner. So it's currently right side facing, I'm just going to like wiggle my finger in here. Now where do I think I'm going to go for the corner? I'm going to go, yeah, I've just found like my chain. I'm going to go in there for my corner. So each corner, obviously we've only got 2 if you're going all the way around like I am. You're going to be putting 2 single crochets. I'm just wondering whether or not to do chain 2 or chain 1. I haven't quite decided yet. I think when I get to this side, I'm going to decide and have a go at both and see which one I prefer. But at the minute, I'm just going to put 2 single crochets in this corner. 1, 2. Now that's not quite finished, but I'm going to come all the way around, and then when I get to this corner, I'm going to then turn it into a corner by putting 2 single crochets, either chain 1 or chain 2, and then slip stitch to the first single crochet to create my corner. Because if I want to add another round, that then keeps my seam in the centre. So I've just put 2 single crochets to begin with, and I'm now going to be working into my rows just the same as what we did with the sleeves. So 1 single crochet around the single crochet row, 2 single crochets around each double crochet bar. So let's have a look. Yeah, 1 single crochet in the single crochet row, 2 single crochets around the double crochet bar. I'm saying too many singles, too many doubles. It's getting a little bit confusing. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I will pop back on screen in a minute depending on what section I've got to, if I feel like you might need any guidance on that section or not. Because I'm literally making this for the first time in like 3 or 4 years. However long ago it was when I designed it. I can't even remember. Exactly, that's right. Goodbye. Okay, so I'm now at my shoulder seam, and I'm just going to do it to what I think is going to be alright. I am literally going to put 1 single crochet either side of that seam, because it's got 2 little holes there. Maybe you've got that, maybe you haven't, who knows. But to me it feels just alright to put 1 single crochet either side of that seam. And now I'm back to my double crochet bar. So I'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side when I get to this seam. So that means I'll meet you at the next bottom corner. I've just realised right after I've done that seam that we're working into the stitches along the back neckline. So yeah, I just thought I'd tell you that just in case you're like, what do I do now? Now you're going to be working into stitches once you've got to your shoulder seam. Literally just single crochet in each stitch until you reach the opposite shoulder seam. Sorry about that, everyone. And then you'll carry on doing your row stitches, like 1 single crochet in the single crochet row, 2 single crochets around the double crochet bar. So now I will meet you back at the next corner. Okay, so I'm now back to the beginning of the round, and there is the corner bit where I put my first 2 single crochets. So I'm going to put another 2 single crochets in that same corner. 1, 2. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and join it to the first single crochet to create my final corner. If I can get it in, where is it? There we go. I'm going to keep my yarn attached, and I'm going to go try it on and see what I think. If I want to add another round or more rounds, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. Oh, actually, am I not? No, I'm not. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. If I decide to add another round, I'll turn my work first before chaining 1. So you turn your work, find that corner that you've just done, that chain space, and slip stitch into that chain space. Now you're ready to start again. So you would then chain 1, put 2 single crochets into the corner, and then you can start putting a single crochet in every single stitch until you get to your next corner, where you would then put 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets, then keep going in every single stitch all the way around until you reach your original corner, where we do exactly what we've just done. 2 single crochets in the corner, chain 2, and slip stitch to the first single crochet. And you can keep repeating that as many times as you wish. But I'm going to try mine on. and see what I think. Maybe I might add another one, maybe I won't. But next time you see me, this will be complete. Okay, so I went for 2 rounds all the way around and I am so happy with it. It looks so stinking cute. So I'm going to show you next what it looks like modelled, but you might have seen the picture anyway at the beginning of the tutorial. But yeah, I am so happy with this. I'm actually that obsessed that I am now about to make myself a long sleeve version, and I know in my head already, it's going to look amazing. I can't wait to show you. So keep an eye out for that, probably on shorts, on my shorts. That sounds weird saying that. Keep an eye on that, on my shorts. I'm a little, it's not a reel, is it? But it is a short, you know what I mean. Right, just want to say thank you for joining me for another tutorial, and I'm going to be back very soon with another one. Bye!